Manchester City beat Tottenham 3-0, and it's that man's name I'll be saying again, Ilkay Gundogan, with 2 goals on the day and actually responsible for ensuring that a penalty was given for the first goal, which Rodri scored as well. He stayed away from the penalty this week, Janusz, but let's talk a little bit about his performance, and we will start with that first goal, the penalty that Rodri took.
Yeah, in terms of that penalty, it didn't sit easy with me. I don't know if it mattered because I think, the way Manchester City are playing right now, they would have found a way against Højbjerg. There was contact, but Ilkay Gundogan has lost control of the ball completely, right? I mean, there was nothing there going down. So I'm not so sure. In my book as a defender, laws of the game or not, I don't know if I wouldn't have given it. And it needed to be saved, by the way, by Hugo Lloris. It was terribly taken by Rodri once again. So maybe Ederson should be taking those penalties, Kay. Especially, you saw that ball for the last goal to Ilkay Gundogan. My goodness, I think he'll be as good as any. But again, another tremendous performance from Manchester City.
Yeah, and the first goal from Ilkay Gundogan, you were talking about it even before we came on, just the link-up play involved in that goal, just everything going right for City right now.
It just is. Defensively, another clean sheet. You and I have talked about Liverpool and some of the problems that they have without their key players. Manchester City did have those problems in the past. They fixed them, and we've seen that for a long time. But I think, when I look at this game, once again, for me, it's just a clash of philosophies, right? I mean, Jose Mourinho said that defensively they would have to be perfect, but it's almost as if, you hope for the best, but expect the worst for Jose Mourinho and Spurs, K. And they didn't even lay a glove on it. And I just wonder, why even go to a game like this? Not that, there are many teams out there that I suppose would, the fate would have it that Manchester City are going to beat him, but here's Jose Mourinho, here's Spurs. I mean, at the very least, try. I mean, there was nothing in it. It's just two clashing philosophies, and it doesn't sit well with me in terms of what Jose Mourinho and Spurs showed in this game, because they showed absolutely nothing.
So you're surprised to see a defensive display like this from a Jose Mourinho side?
Well, I mean, I'm not surprised. I knew against big teams that this is what he would do. But again, you're hoping that City would make a mistake. I just think that you go out there and try to force a mistake rather than wait for it. And especially when when you go behind on that penalty very early, you say to yourself, okay, what do you do now? You hope for the best, that maybe you get a draw. You're still going to get that chance. But it was never to be Harry Kane or so. I mean, absolutely nothing, zero. And I just wonder what these players think. And as I said, I get it. Liverpool played in a different way because they're expected to play differently. And they were in a game against Manchester City, even though ultimately they met the same fate. But I ask you, which way would you rather play or lose? The way Liverpool played against Manchester City with a chance to win it because they were in that game, and if things felt differently, they might have won it, or to play the way Spurs play and don't exist the entire game.
And yet we're talking about Manchester City and these goals coming in, but it seems that it's their defence that's proven to be the backbone of their success this season. Another clean sheet for them, Janusz.
Well, it's important. I mean, defensively, I'm biased here, of course, but I think you have to have the foundation defensively in order to win these titles. We've seen that Manchester City have won titles here without a great defense, but I think they've recognized that in order to be a more complete team, you have to have that. So again, Ruben Diaz this time rested. Aymeric Laporte coming in. No problem whatsoever. John Stones continues to win. As Stones plays, so do City. It seems that way. And then on top of that, you have performances like Ilkay Gundogan, who's been, this calendar year superb, hasn't he?
Has he been superb enough to win Player of the Season?
Well, I think this season I think he's got 8 goals in this calendar year. I mean, I think he's got more goals than Robert.
8 in 9 Premier League games since the turn of the year.
That's better than Robert Lewandowski in the Bundesliga. Imagine that. And he's scoring, left and right in every competition. So look, they don't miss a beat. You know, De Bruyne is out, no problem. Gundogan comes in. Now, Gundogan picked up what looks like an injury where he may not be available to play. I don't know, of course, in the next few games. And look, this felt to me alongside the Liverpool game. You know, you look at Manchester City and you think champions in waiting, right? I mean, season-defining wins. You do have to say that they have Everton, Arsenal, West Ham, and Manchester United coming up, but they do have that mentality that we saw last season from Liverpool and what we saw the season before that, or a couple of seasons before that from Manchester City. I think it's going to be hard to pry it away from them. And I just think that even in Gundogan's not playing, somehow somebody else is going to step in, because their philosophy never changes. Even when things don't go their way, you just kind of see it that, you know, somebody is capable. I mean, there's no other team that comes even close to them, Kay, when it comes to too deep in every position.
The name that you associate with champions in waiting, though, Janusz, has changed, hasn't it?
Unfortunately, look, I mean, Jurgen Klopp has said it as much today, and you could see how hard it was for him to admit that. He didn't after the Manchester City game, right? He fought it because he knew the perception that was going to give to his players and the supporters as well. You don't want to admit that, but of course, after losing to City, he said it. I have to change it as well. I knew that after the last game, when Manchester City beat Liverpool, this is just a tremendous side firing on absolutely all cylinders at the moment.
Last but not least, just because I would like to mention it, with Tottenham Hotspur, were you surprised to see Gareth Bale come on today?
Well, I mean, it was a challenge. I think that's one way of Jose Mourinho to kind of try to get something out of him, right? I mean, he disagreed with some of his posts in terms of how ready he is. He's been an absolute flop at Real Madrid. He continues to be an incredible flop at Spurs right now. But while you have him, you still always think as a manager, and if you remember how important Gareth Bale has been once for Spurs, and he's been incredible,
and even for Real Madrid.
Oh, he's been incredible.
Some of the big things he's won.
Oh my goodness, number of trophies he's won, number of great goals that he scored for Real Madrid. But, you know, I mean, you look at a player that most likely will go back to Real Madrid. They will have to pay him, I don't know, 30 million a season at a time where he's not doing anything for them. So, look, I applaud Mourinho, because at the end of the day, he's going to say, look, I gave you every opportunity possible. Show me that you still have it. And, you know, for Spurs, as bad as this was, let's face it, everyone meets this fate with Manchester City. Spurs are only, 4 points away from the Champions League? Not the end of the world, but worrisome, right? I mean, they've now lost, you know, this game. They've lost to Liverpool. They've lost to Chelsea. They've lost to Brighton, right? So they haven't seen a win in the Premier League other than West Brom. But then again, everybody beats West Brom.
Okay, so that's how it ends. Man City 3, Tottenham 0. And as you said, anyone coming up against this version of Man City, well, it's going to be tough.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.